This is the first test slide in. Okay, I know what the problem is. There's a width. I didn't take it all the way out to the proper width in some places. That's the top. When I got the correct width on the surface here, and then I was dealing with the depth, trying to get down to the right depth, I didn't go out to the correct width, and I left that little tiny, see that little bitty ridge? See, I left those little ridges here and there. That I got the depth correct, but I didn't take it all the way out to the correct width, which is up here on the surface. So all I was dealing with was the important stuff, which is the correct width at the surface and the correct depth. Once I get those done, I can take a chisel. See, just take a chisel and clean those out. I'm using this chisel one-handed right now, so it's, and holding a camera at the same time. So, but you can see the idea. I just have to go in and carry out that line from here down. Now I'm pushing quite a bit. What I'm trying to do is leave a scuff mark that tells me where it's hitting. It's going in further than what I really anticipated. It's also giving me the ability to see where I've got to trim off the extra on the sides of this thing. It's just too wide. And by having my receiver up against it, I can put a line right there that I know how much width has got to come off of this, and I can peel that off with a bandsaw. That's one mark. Now the other mark is going to be left internally. Let's see what the top looks like. The top is closer than what I expected. I'm glad I took that out of the top so that this tang could go down, because it's just barely correct. If I have to take anything out in that middle that's an up and down thing, I need to take it out of the top to let this thing sit down. I don't know if it's a width thing. It's not back here, because I can see that's got plenty of room. It may be up here. I don't know if it's a width thing or a height thing, but when I pull this out, it'll tell me. It's a height thing, and I'm glad. That way I can drop this down a little bit. Alright, you can see how much of a dark stain it has put right here, and over here, and right there. A little bit here, more here. You can see that the width is not affected. Over here on the side walls of this is not scuffed. Barely. There's a little bit right there on that one. There's a little bump right there. Now that's just the top. I don't know what the bottom says, but I know that it's tight on the up and down portion, and so I'm going to take it out of the top I'm going to start up here with the heaviest marks and relieve that, and then I'll work my way back in there. Wow, that went nicely. For just one adjustment, that went very nicely. There's nothing else holding it. It's probably touching on the inside of those little tabs. I'm going to give it a little thump with a mallet on the end of the barrel. It'll show me what's touching. Yep. See where that's kind of laid over? That's what's touching. This is another thing that's touching. There's a shaft that the spring rides on, and this tab right here sticks out the end right there, and that thing, when you cock the hammer, that thing comes back, and you've got to drill a hole, it's about 5/8 deep, big enough to accept that little pin. That pin keeps this spring in line, and it's held by this bracket. So it's a very simple machine, very Browning-like. And there's a little bump where that pin, when I hit that with a hammer, it pushed a little mark into that back end. So that lets me know where that hole is.